weather. You were enjoying the nice weather, and I was enjoying the wet weather. Now you're getting the wet, and I'm getting the nice for today.
It's windy, it's gray, and it's been sprinkling and raining here and there all day long.
Oh yeah, fall's in the air. What do you expect?
It's all
there
your
you go.
fault, you rat bastard.
And speaking of which, I know Jeff has had a bone to pick with me ever since I showed up, even the last few nights. I just wanted to get this out of the way. Who is in first place in Fantasy Pro Football Pick'em?
Who?
Me.
What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Have some pride. It's me, you son of a bitch.
Me.
I know it's
co-host of SportsWorldRadio is ahead in the fantasy.
Well, I like I said to you right before we went on the air. I said to you, I'd rather have one of the co-hosts or the hosts on the top and somebody else. So it can't be me. I'm glad it's you. I know, Gio. I know Sean cheated. He always does.
You guys make me feel like I'm the guilty person.
He always does, so don't worry about it. Yeah, Sean's in first place. He's got 2 games on me and 1 game on everybody else. I went all the way down to what? 5th place am I in there?
I believe it was 5th place you dropped.
Dag nabbit. I only won 6 games. Me and I have been talking about it for the last 2 days. It's been driving me batty. But at least one of the hosts, is winning. Like if Kenny was in first place, I'd be okay too, because he's co-hosting the show with me now when you're not here. So you know what I'm saying? So at least it's one of the co-hosts or the host in first place still. It's not one of these guys like Gio. You know what I mean?
Gio's not very happy about it. Gio Skyped me and he says, "You're in first place."
Yeah, I know.
It was a good week. I picked up 11 points. I only lost 4 games.
Gio only won 4 games?
I only lost 4 games. I don't know what Gio did.
I only won 6 games. What are you kidding me? That was one of my worst weeks I've had 2 terrible weeks, man. 2 terrible and I went through one of them and still made it through first place. This time I got knocked all the way down to 5th. Holy cannoli, Batman.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I've actually, in all the years we played fantasy sports, I've never led or even, I'm not even going to say I'm going to win because we still got a lot of season left, but I've actually never led very much. I remember in the NCAA tournament pick'em I was ahead, but Ebo snuck by and whooped me. I think it was last year.
I don't think you won anything.
No, I haven't.
Played in with us. We've always ended up somewhere down at the bottom. It would be nice to see you win something for a change.
Well, I can say this, Jeff. You have to have luck on your side in order to win in fantasy sports.
So I'll tell you something. This year in the NFL, you have to be a lucky son of a bitch to get 10 or 11 games right. Because these teams are unbelievable. These games are unstinking believable. You haven't been here in 2 days. That Denver-Dallas game was freaking nuts.
Yeah, I had a feeling if I was here, we'd be talking a lot about it.
Everybody was saying, oh, it was offense this. Where the hell was the defense in that game?
There was no defense whatsoever.
The offense had to score those points because freaking both defense sucked. Come on.
Yeah, the defenses were horrible.
It's been a crazy week here. It's been a crazy week here.
Yeah, 51-48. And I was saying, wow, that has got to be one of the best games ever in NFL history. It's been a long time since I saw a high-scoring affair like that.
Hey, listen,
anyway, the first topic we get...
I asked Kenny C. 1 second. I'm breaking out the first topic. I asked Kenny C. a question yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I said to him, do you think Dusty Baker would go back to Chicago and coach the Cubs since he got fired from Cincinnati? And he said to me, it looks like Joe Girardi is going to be going over to the Cubbies. Well, not necessarily, my friend, because if I'm correct, Joe Girardi just signed a 4-year extension with the New York Yankees. Right?
And I'm glad you sent me this topic. My take on it, is it a good move for the Yankees?
4 years, right?
Like I said,
a lot of money, too, right?
Well, yeah, and I think it's because, Girardi probably stated, and he probably thought, season's over. Let me kind of sit down and talk this Originally, October 31st was going to be the day that his whole thing would be up. They didn't get a deal struck. So now they get a deal done, Jeff. And does it help the Yankees? We'll see. It's one big move, but you got to keep in mind, like I said, the Yankees are going to be an entirely different team next year. Their next biggest priority is to see what they're going to do with Robinson Cano, because Cano and Granderson are still two big guys out there testing the free agent market. Jeter, of course, they have an option for him to be picked up. The Yankees are going to be a totally different team.
Yeah, he just signed a 4-year. He just signed a 4-year contract today.
Yeah, it was a 4-year deal that he signed, and
he's 48 years old, Girardi.
I don't think, Jeff, I'm really shocked by it, because originally he's probably saying, "Look, I've won a World Series championship here. I've done a lot to turn the team around. I've got him, farther in the playoffs. Took him to the ALCS last year. Took him to the ALDS in 2011. Took him to the ALCS in 2010. So he's probably saying, I've done a good job here. Can I do a better job? Can I get the Yankees to more World Series championships? I don't know, because the Yankees are going to be totally different." He goes, quote, "It's a special place to manage because of the opportunity that you have every year and the tools that they give you." That is true. And here's the deal. It was a new 4-year deal, Jeff, for $16 million.
$16 million. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, huh? The freaking manager, $16 million. That's ridiculous.
Well, the Yankees are probably saying, we're desperate. We're trying to figure out and say, we need you back, Girardi, because if Girardi walked and went to the Cubs or to another team to manage, who would be a possibility to manage? Tony Pena, maybe. There are other possibilities too.
Okay, so where's Dusty Baker end up now?
And now, since we get to the topic of Dusty Baker, and I know you and Kenny can talk about this tomorrow on the show, I would say that Dusty Baker possibly could go back to Chicago. That's if Theo Epstein shows interest. If not, Dusty Baker could be maybe an ESPN Baseball Tonight analyst for ESPN, or maybe he'll go work for the MLB network. But I can still see Dusty Baker managing maybe a couple more years. He is a good guy. Took the Giants to the 2002 World Series. He took the Cubs to the 2003 National League Championship Series. So there's a lot of speculation about what will happen. Of course, I was a little surprised that the Reds fired him. Remember, in an update, I was kind of like going, wow, that just came right through the sports tickers that Dusty Baker was fired.
Hey, you going to watch the football game tomorrow night?
Oh, I can't. I have to work tomorrow.
So you're not going to watch the Giant Chicago game either then, are you?
No, we'll get to that in a second.
I'm boycotting that game. I'm just letting you know right now.
Speaking of games, we do have a game on tonight on TBS. As we get into more of MLB.
This makes me very angry. You know that, right, Sean? This makes me very, very angry that I have to watch this game. And it's Wednesday night, so there's really nothing on. I have to watch it. Although I think it's on tonight, and I'm not really sure, but have you got a chance to see the new TV show called Ironside?
No.
With Blair Underwood? It's kind of a takeoff of the old Ironside TV show.
No.
Oh, my Lord. If you guys haven't watched it yet, check it out. It's really cool. I saw the opener last week. It was kick butt. I'm going to watch it again. I think it's on tonight. But that'll be on after that'll be on after the game is over. But I'm going to have to watch this game, man. I'm going to be rooting for St. Louis so freaking hard. It's going to be nuts. Sorry, Wes. I'm going to be rooting for St. Louis so hard. I got to see Pittsburgh go down. They got to go down tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game tonight, Jeff, because it's do or die. I could expect maybe a pitcher's duel or a lot of scoring of runs. These two teams have really battled it out, and I think a lot of people were shocked that they won on Monday, the Cardinals did.
Who's pitching tonight? Who's the pitching matchup tonight? Do you have it in front of you?
I'm going to look for it right now and let everybody know who is going.
I need St. Louis to win. Dodgers are sitting there anyway. I need the Dodgers. I need Detroit to win tomorrow night. I need Detroit to win tomorrow night to keep my Dodger Detroit World Series in tow. You know?
It'll be Cole going for the Pittsburgh Pirates against Wainwright of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wainwright versus Cole. Yeah, that should be very, very interesting. We need
Wainwright. And then tomorrow,
I'd like to see Wainwright pitch a no-hitter. Wow!
Justin Verlander will go up against Gray.
And I need Verlander to pitch like an awesome son of a bitch that he is. Okay? He needs to throw the best game of his life tomorrow night. Verlander.
And let's get to this series real quickly. We'll get back to Detroit. Actually, we'll get back to Pittsburgh and St. Louis. Yesterday was Game 4 of the 2013 American League Divisional Series.
That was a hell of a game.
Huh?
That was a hell of a game. Did you watch that game?
I saw the highlights.
I watched that game. I watched that game, Sean. How about that? I actually watched that game. That was a hell of a game.
It was. And you think about the fact that the A's hurt themselves big time because they had the bases loaded with nobody out, and they couldn't score any runs in that top half of the 8th inning. That's what made the difference, and then Detroit was able to narrowly escape that game.
You know what made the difference in that inning? It was Scherzer. Scherzer coming in and freaking striking the damn side out. That's what made the difference. That's it.
Yeah.
Scherzer got himself in trouble and got himself out of trouble. That's
what you have to do.
It was a beautiful thing to watch. We were doing the show while that game was on. It was a beautiful thing to watch. I watched that whole freaking game, dude. Every time the score changed, I announced it right on the show. And believe me, the score changed every freaking inning. It was a great game. When it got to 3-0 Oakland first, and then that home run made it 3-3, unbelievable. And then the other home run, unbelievable. Johnny Peralta belting freaking home runs. It was unbelievable. It was a great game to watch. I enjoyed watching that game. I'm glad Detroit won that game.
It was a great game. So now, looking down the road, Jeff, the Oakland A's have the home field advantage, and this series shifts to Oakland for Game 5 tomorrow. You're saying you want Verlander and Detroit to win.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing. Verlander in the last start against Detroit pitched a heck of a game. That was a great pitcher's duel, but the only problem was Detroit's bullpen gave that game to Oakland in the bottom of the 9th inning. I think that will be another good game tomorrow night at Network Associates Coliseum in Oakland.
I think it's going to be a good game too. I'm going to end up probably watching it because hey, I need Detroit to win.
Here's a little bit of statistical information, and this is not good for the Oakland Athletics. Throughout their history, the A's have had a lot of trouble winning the 5th game of playoffs. In 2000, they lost in 5 games to the Yankees. 2001, they lost in 5 games to the Yankees. 2002, they lost in 5 games to the Minnesota Twins. 2003, and they lost in 5 games to the Red Sox. In 2006, of course, they were able to finally win the playoff series, but of course gets swept by Detroit. And then, of course, last year they lost in 5 games to Detroit. So the A's know that they have not played very well in the 5th game in the American League Divisional Series throughout their postseason history. So they need to make sure they're ready. And you got to keep in mind this too, Jeff. Last year in the 5th game in Oakland, Verlander pitched a shutout, and the Detroit Tigers beat them 5-0. So
tonight.
The A's better be ready to hit Verlander hard because Verlander could really bring it tomorrow.
Gonna do it again tomorrow night, bitches.
Your prediction, Jeff, what do you think for a score will happen between Detroit and Oakland?
4-0.
You think it'll be another shutout like last time?
Yeah, he's gonna do it again.
And then of course,
let's make it 4-1.
4-1?
Yeah, let him score a point. We don't let him score a run, they won't play with us anymore.
The next series we get to from Tropicana Field in Tampa Bay.
No. Go to the Pittsburgh series first.
Okay. Game 4 on Monday was a battle between the pitchers, and pretty much in Game 4, the Cardinals escaped 2-1.
They sure did.
And this series is going on tonight, Game 5. Right now, the Cardinals have the advantage, and they're going to need to play really well. But I still think it's going to be a close game tonight.
I need the Cardinals to win tonight. I can't – listen, you know this as well as I do. If freaking Pirates win, and I'm surprised he's not here. If the Pirates win, we're going to have to deal with Wes. You know that. Yeah. You know that. Tomorrow's show, you won't be here for tomorrow's show. But tomorrow's show will be probably Wes in here. We are family.